Welcome to the Brownsville Minute, a community-conscious conversation and a platform that provides information, wellness, love, and unity all on a digital platform. And our goal is to try to make sure that our community residents are informed, conscious, and that we are connecting the dots on a virtual platform. The Brownsville Minute is designed for everyone. Please join us with the Brownsville Minute. Well, hello there. It is so good to have you join us once again. I thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join another episode of the Brownsville Minute. I always get excited when I have guests who are willing and have the courage to join the show because they never know what type of craziness I'm going to ask them. But it's all good because I send them the information, so they're not really that surprised, except at the end. But for those who are just joining for the first time, my name is Anita Pierce, and I am the owner of 11375. I'm also the host and producer of the Brownsville Minute. The Brownsville Minute is a platform where we provide information to our community residents that are impacted, that are supportive, and this is all surrounded by love and unity. The goal is to be sure that we provide another outlet in a way where individuals within our community that we love and support can receive information. And so the Brownsville Minute is just one of the many ways in which we provide support, information, and resources to our community residents. So please make sure that you continue to follow us because this is something that we plan to continue as one of the ways that we are providing information to our community residents. So please stay tuned. Our discussion today is focusing specifically on deepening community engagement within our communities, specifically through the coalition of mutual aid organizations, connecting community engagement with social impact. We are now almost 2 years within the pandemic, and it's really hard to believe that we have been in this experience. Every time I wake up, I'm always grateful that I have another opportunity to do the work that we are doing. And many of us are, although we know that many have transitioned as a result of being impacted by this pandemic. But what we've learned, and that a lot of our vulnerable populations, specifically within East Brooklyn, namely Ocean Hill, Brownsville, East New York, have been impacted at a greater number than most. We're going to zoom in specifically with individuals, not really specifically individuals, but with the topic of understanding what food insecurities look like within our community. I am super happy to discuss with Mr. Kelvin Taitt, the co-founder of East Brooklyn Mutual Aid, about the gap that he has the courage to fill with his organization, and it is being fulfilled through volunteer efforts. And I'm always like pumped and happy when you have individuals who put themselves out there because they become part of the solution to help resolve some of the issues that we have, namely with food insecurities within East Brooklyn. So I'm excited to welcome Mr. Kelvin Taitt to the table. Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Blessed and highly favored is what they say, right? Because that's
You
how I
got,
feel today.
you got that right. That's every day I wake up.
Amen.
It is so awesome to see you virtually. I know we come across in a number of different meetings,
Yeah.
but I am really curious to learn more about who you are because I know that you have this extensive background as a community organizer, but let's deep a little bit more into who you are.
So I'd like to call myself a social entrepreneur. I've been blessed enough to be exposed to so many different industries and worked with so many different cultures and walks of people. I've worked in the music industry. I've worked in the entertainment industry. I'm an event planner. I've worked in the retail operation industry. So I've done a little bit of everything to really bring me to where I am now. I'm a singer. I am an uncle. I live in Ocean Hill, Brownsville. My family lives in Brooklyn. I grew up on Long Island, but I've been in Brooklyn for the last 13 years. I was born in Crown Heights. I lived in Flatbush. So I'm a BK kid all around.
So let's not skip over the fact that you're an uncle and that you're a singer. Let's not skip over those.
I like to sing more than I like to call myself a singer. I grew up all my life singing, and I've allowed the nerves and the outside voices to influence the gift and the talent that I have. And I'm learning to love my talent and my gift more, and I'm learning to block out the external noise and really focus on what I have to say and the talents that are inside me. So the last 2 years has been a blessing for that and getting to know who I am and that side a little bit more. And also in the last 5 years, yes, because my niece is 4. I have two of them now. One is 9 months and one is 4 years old. Zaria and Mia, and they are my pride and joy. It's so amazing to be an uncle and to have the little ones run up to you and grab you and not want to let go and spend all their time with you. It's such a blessing.
You know what? I remember the auntie days. Now I'm a mother. It's a little different.
Yeah.
It's a little
Those
different.
days will soon come. I would love to be a dad one day.
Yeah. It's like so, just talk about the auntie uncle moment just for a little bit. It's amazing when they grow up
Oh,
and you see them like now I have a 29-year-old, which is still hard to believe. I
wow.
have a 25, 20. There I have the 20-year-olds, then I have like teens, and then I have like little itty bitties. No. So I'm back into like the, you know,
Hmm.
favorite auntie or the cool auntie. So try to stay in the cool phase. Like it just as long as you can stick there, just stay
You
in it.
never left. You've been in the cool phase the whole time. You have a nice little span there.
You know what? I like to I'll accept that. I will definitely accept that. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing when they
Yeah,
grow up and they talk about some of the memories that they have with you. So particularly
yeah,
in volunteering, because I used to have them doing what we do now.
yep.
So let's transition just a little bit.
Okay.
Explain more in depth what, for those who may not know what a mutual aid organization is, and how does that differ from a charitable organization?
Well, first and foremost, I always like to start by saying mutual aid is not charity. Mutual aid is a one-to-one, peer-to-peer connection. Folks bring what they can to the table, and folks take what they need from the table. And that's what it is. We support each other, we help each other, we provide resources, skills, whatever is needed. To enrich the lives of the folks around us, and I am thankful enough that in this community that there are so many folks with skills and talents that I didn't even know prior to starting this, and being able to work alongside of all of these amazing people, that some are graphic designers and some are coders and some are can to handle 50, 70, 100 phone calls in a day to our neighbors to check on them, and some are amazing writers and proposal writers. I mean, it's been great. So mutual aid is a community of folks. supporting our community, doing everything that we need to ensure that there's sustainable life for us in every aspect. Our group is focused on food security and food sovereignty, and other groups have focused on community cleanups and health and mental wellness. And so it really depends on the needs of your community, but mutual aids can really be anything.
And so let's take a look back a year ago, almost 2 years, right? Why did you what motivated your heart to do this? Because I know that you're one of the co-founders, but what was that thing in the midst of all this the unknown, right? When you first started?
God.
Mm,
It's God for me. I contracted COVID March 2020,
mm,
and the entire time that I was sick, I was prayerful. And I wanted to, once I self recovered, because I thankfully didn't have to go to the hospital, but once I self recovered, and in all my prayers during the time that I was sick, God, what can I do? Because there are others that have it worse than I do. I'm here and I'm sick and I feel like my head is in a fishbowl and I have no energy, but there are others that are worse. And how can I be more like you, one, and what can I do to support the folks around me? What is it that you need me to do? And some neighbors came to me and said, we're going to start a mutual aid group,
mm.
and our purpose is to deliver groceries and to food to folks that need it. And they did that for me when I needed it. When I was homesick, there was groceries at my front door. They rang the bell and left, obviously, because they didn't want to get sick. But, my neighbors and my mom and my brother and my family, they brought me groceries when I didn't have anything and I needed it. So, it was really, how can I pay that forward, and how can I do more for folks in my community that are going through the exact same thing that I am in this moment?
Wow. Wow. So it's from within that you
Oh
and from
yeah.
your personal experience and also say connection to God.
Yeah.
I'm a believer. I, you know, even more so the importance of staying connected to a source outside of yourself
Hmm.
has become a part of my life bread right now. Um,
Yeah.
and so I wanted to, first thank you for sharing that. But I also wanted to, just dive in a bit about really understanding, like, as you're organizing a group who have a goal, right? An overall goal. I personally know that being in a volunteer space takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of organizing. What did your process look like at the beginning of last year, and how has it improved since its inception?
It process in terms of volunteerism or building.
Yeah, just in terms of volunteerism, or if there's any additional processes that you can share. But we could start with the volunteerism right now.
So we had a lot more luck, I guess I can say, in the beginning with volunteers, active volunteers. Um, there were a lot more people out of work. There were a lot more people at
Mm,
home, people that wanted to be engaged and involved in any way that they can. And as the world started to get back to some semblance of normalcy for what, in any way that it is for whomever, we started to see that number slowly decrease. Um, we started doing things differently, finding other ways to engage folks, shifting the way that we were working. I took it upon myself back in October, and I assembled a board of directors. I assembled 9 people back then, that were committed to what we were doing and that would give us the support and resources that we needed to continue moving forward. That number is now increased to 13. But that's what I thought we needed to do. We needed to gather folks, still some folks that were volunteering, that were committed and that were going to give us all of their time and resources. Not all, because they deserve some of it, but give us their time and their resources, and be completely committed to what we were doing in order for us to move it forward. And we're actively working together to raise money to provide, jobs for some of the folks that have been volunteering with us. We have provided stipends for some of our delivery drivers to assist them with gas and normal wear and tear on their vehicles. So we've gotten really creative with supporting some of the volunteers, in the times that they needed it most.
And so the process. started as more of an organic, if I understood. Started up as
Yes.
organic, based upon, what you were led to do. Now it's become a full process almost within this year. Um, and the improvements have been in areas of pretty much organization, if I understood you correctly. That's correct?
Yeah, we've put people in place that have focused solely on securing volunteers. We have some outreach folks. We have volunteer coordinators. We have folks that do training. In the beginning, it was we were handing out flyers. We were going door to door. We were friends and family. I mean, my dad, my stepmom, and my stepbrother were our first volunteers.
Mm,
And then word started to spread, and believe it or not, the some of the officers from the 73rd precinct were our first delivery drivers. They would show up on or off duty and they would deliver groceries to our neighbors. So the process was getting everyone involved that we could in our community. Didn't really matter who, because we all needed support. We were all in it together. And slowly we were able to bring on folks that told more folks, that reached out to other mutual aid groups, and other mutual aid groups lent us volunteers when we needed them. So it's really been a community effort in building that grassroots from the ground up.
and if I may highlight, I often, with this social climate, specifically with police officers, it's always
Mhm.
really good to highlight the good work that is not often visible.
Yes.
So salute to you for shouting out the 73rd precinct for their
Oh
work.
yeah. They will continue to have support from us, and as long as they continue to show up for us in our communities. And the 73rd precinct has done an extraordinary job for showing up for the folks that live in Brownsville. And I have to say that, the leadership there has been outstanding, and they've done many different things, and they've put in so many great efforts into making Brownsville different than other communities.
I agree. I'm huge fans of the new leadership that's there,
Yeah.
and also the officers. Um, so in addition to the food deliveries
Mhm.
that you help to support the community, are there other resources that you offer residents within your scope of deliveries?
Yeah, so we have been doing vaccination referrals, and we have supported folks in getting to and from, so with mobility, getting to and from vaccinations if they need it. We have a community needs committee that has supplied refrigerators, air conditioners, clothing, diapers. We take some of the needs of our community and we really try to focus on food.
Mm.
Food is our priority. We want to make sure that we are building sustainable food systems, but there are other things that folks need. So when we can connect them to resources that are here in our community, because there are so many of them, we'll make sure that we are that intermediary to make sure that folks have what they need, because that was our mission from the beginning, making sure that folks had what they need.
And so now this is me being curious about like your food donations. Does it come from, because I know that there are a number of local community gardens. Does some of your food resources and donations come from there, or is it outside of the community?
So in the beginning, we were supporting some of the local community gardens and providing them with some funding and some produce.
Mhm.
We have always tried to be the connector to, because we have resources. I have connections to farms upstate and downstate. So we want to make sure that we're always providing resources when we can, but also working with folks that are local. We have not been able to make the connections and purchasing from some of the local community gardens yet because of the quantities that we typically purchase in. We're doing 100 deliveries a week, and at times we're doing 150 households a week. So those are quite large quantities. We've also been working with the Christian Cultural Center and supporting their pantry, and they do about 300 to 400 households a day, 3 days a week. So the quantities in which we were sourcing food just weren't working for some of the local gardens, but we absolutely plan on working with them because they're here and we want to support them any way that we can. Our goal is to build a community food hub, and including all of those local community gardens and farms like East New York Farm. We want to include all of them because they're all part of our community.
Correct. Yeah, that's yeah, shout out to Christian Cultural Center. I'm a member.
You're
Um
a CCC member. Grace and
Grace
peace.
and peace. That's right. I knew there was something. There had to be something. Um
This vision was born in that building.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, we yeah. It's a lot of good things that come out of being a part of Christian Cultural Center. So I'm gonna shout out Pastor Bernard because I
Yes.
can. Because
and
I can.
and Annette
Yeah.
Bernard, who is the co-director of the Social Justice Initiative. She has really been our biggest resource.
Mm,
CCC has partnered with us on supplying food through their connections, allowing us to use their space.
mhm.
We have folks come there to do pickups when we are low on drivers. The drivers come there and they pick up their groceries. They have been an absolute amazing partner for all that we are doing in this community, and they continue to be a staple institution.
And you know what's really so amazing about that is centering the church and aligning it with community needs, and
Mhm.
that it's one of those things where um, when you see that happening, this is just my opinion about creating a cycle of community support.
Yeah.
It's just a really amazing thing. So I really want to, shout you out because you didn't have to reach out to a church, right? You didn't really have to, and most people don't think of, um, in our instance, a cultural institution, cultural center,
Mhm.
as one where you can connect and provide access, and also gain like support to fulfill community needs. So shout out
Yeah.
to the work that you're doing and connecting it that way. So that's really amazing to hear.
And
Um,
let's shout them out for their mission, because their mission involves community engagement,
yeah,
spreading the gospel.
that's right,
So
without a doubt. So, okay, so woohoo! I love it. I wanted to touch it a little bit differently about, because you really have your hands in really understanding that there are a lot of food concerns within our communities, right? And when I think about, you know, well, my question is always why, and so that leads me to, legislation and laws. What recommendations, if you were in that space or advocating, that you would think about to reduce some of the food concerns that specifically impact our communities of color across the
right.
board?
So before I answer that, I guess I will say that I commend the mayor's office for understanding that there was no solution
Mm,
and putting a plan in place to create that. I think that continuing to do things of that nature, long term financial commitments to our communities is what we need, to assist us in building. We don't need them to come in and build for us. We need them to support the building that we're doing. We understand our communities. We understand the people. We know what we need. Support us in what we are building, the infrastructure that supports our community. Um, Long term financial commitment is what we need, to organizations in our community. In my opinion, we need access, access to funding, access to space, access to resources in whatever capacity that may be. And I think that they really need to take a look into what we need, speak to the folks that are here and invite them to the table and allow them to be a part of the decision making. So important. A lot of the decisions where they were not made with the folks in the community in mind. There were folks making decisions for us and not including us at that conversation.
mm. I can totally agree with that. So thank you for um, your answer on that. What advice would you provide someone who would be interested in starting and following in your footsteps with hosting and doing a mutual aid? Uh oh, you chuckled. Uh oh,
You said following in my footsteps.
yes. Mhm.
um,
Because
Well,
believe it or not, we're examples. We're living examples on this earth, right? So that's how I look
yeah,
at it. So while they may not be seeing, Jesus Christ in person, they do see the reflection of those who are following him. So
follow your
that's us.
heart. I
That's
would say
us.
follow your heart. It will never lead you to the wrong path, and know what it is that you want to do, and rally some support and some folks around you. We can do it alone. It's going to take us a long time, but if we do it together, we'll get there faster. And because we need each other, we need community. We always need folks around us, because you may have resources and knowledge and skills and talents that I just don't have, and that's okay. That's when we can come together and co-create something, and that's what we did. So don't do it alone. Rely on your community. Lean on your community. Lean on the folks that are around you, because there's some talent and there's some skills that are here, specifically in Brownsville, and I am proud to be a part of it.
And what current opportunities do you have available if someone wanted to volunteer with your organization?
Fundraising, definitely fundraising. Driving, we always need folks to deliver groceries. Grant writing opportunities are available as well. That people can carve out their own lane as well. We're growing, we're building a food hub and a food cooperative, so there's plenty of opportunities for folks to be a part of it. We're going to need logistics and procurement. We're going to need more media and promotion, advertising, in order for folks to know that we exist and to help us build what we are building. So there are plenty of opportunities.
And so, not final question, but where can we find you on social media? I'm going to plug the website at the bottom, but if you could let us know if you are on social media, where can we
Yeah.
find you?
So you can find me at Kelvin Taitt. So it's just my full name on Instagram, Facebook. I am Kelvin Taitt on Twitter. East BK Mutual Aid is our handles for all of our social media. East Brooklyn Mutual Aid on Instagram. I'm sorry, on Facebook. EastBrooklynMutualAid.org.
And so I know that there may be someone out there who is in need. And I noted from your website that you do deliveries on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yes.
But if you want and are in need, they do have a process, and maybe you can elaborate more on that.
Yeah, so there's definitely a phone number that you call, or go on our website and you fill out a request form. Someone from our intake will reach out to you within 24 to 48 hours to schedule you a time for delivery. You can also do a self-serve on our website and pick a delivery slot, and then you'll get an automated text that will confirm your delivery the night before with the time slot. The drivers usually call in the morning to also confirm. We have some pickup options that we post on our website. Often we're doing pickups typically at Christian Cultural Center on Saturdays, and we will also always post the date that we are doing that. And we're also moving into starting to do some farmers markets as well. So folks that have the financial means that would love to buy farm fresh produce, dairy products, we have that available coming this fall rather.
And so, last but not least, I always like to ensure that we are supporting
Yes.
the opportunities for what I consider um, community organizing. Everything needs, there's financial support that's needed. And it oftentimes we're really hesitant sometimes to talk
Hmm.
about, the financial aspect of what it really takes to do, even in a volunteer capacity.
Right.
Things are still needed. And so we are encouraging you that if you have $5 or $10, that goes a long way. You may not think
Yes.
that it
They're
does.
matched.
Yeah.
On our IOB campaign, donations are matched up to $1,000 per donor, dollar for dollar.
And so please, this is, you're thinking about your neighbors. This is an opportunity to do so, particularly if, you have additional resources to do so. It does not take a lot to support
Absolutely.
organizations. So we are happy to continue to promote opportunities to support this organization.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So this is where I like to say this gets really fun. So, any final thoughts that you have before I get into my one word uh Rapid
No,
fire.
but I did forget to plug in my computer, and I would like to do that before it cuts off. Is that okay? Okay, I'll be lightning fast.
Okay, lightning fast.
Well, kind of, because I don't know where
Kinda.
my charger is. Found it. Okay.
That was fast.
All right. Well, I try. Let's just make sure I can get it plugged in before it turns off.
No, we'll wait. No worries.
Okay, well, that did not work. One more test.
Okay.
That did work. Okay, we're back.
Okay, we are back. So, rapid fire one word questions. You ready?
Okay,
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Your favorite borough?
Brooklyn.
I like that. Brooklyn with the like. How dare you ask me that?
BK all day.
I know. What do you do in your downtime?
Sleep.
Mm, it must be nice. What 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 is your favorite thing to do that keeps you recharged?
Praise and worship.
Pizzas or burgers?
Pizza.
Smoothies or ice creams?
Haagen-Dazs.
The best compliment that you've received?
Oh, I love affirmations. I love when people affirm the things that I'm doing.
The legacy that you would like to leave for your family?
Change. Growth. Growth. I'll stick with growth.
Final thoughts?
The word love came to mind because everything that I do, I try to do with so much love in my heart. Sometimes we fall short of that. I fall short of that. And there's a certain level of grace that I reserve for myself when I feel like I'm not meeting an expectation. And that's filled with love.
And so thank you for that. It
Thank
has
you.
been so good interviewing you. I hope that this is not the last time that you yourself come on as a representative of East Brooklyn Mutual Aid. Come on. I'm going to plug in the website
Thanks.
where you can find additional information about East Brooklyn Mutual Aid. I'm
It's
also
down
going to, it's down at the bottom. So please be sure to be supportive. I'm also going to show that this is an opportunity. When you go onto the website, you can check through ways at the bottom to donate. Um,
Yes.
and looking forward to having you again. Thank you so
Thank
much
you. Thank you for
for joining.
having me.
I want to see you again.
I'll be back for sure.
For sure. I thank you so much for joining. And we're
Thank
actually
you.
going to close out the show with a video
Cool.
specifically that talks about information about East Brooklyn Mutual Aid. So please stay tuned. And thank you
Yes.
so much for joining the Brownsville Minute.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye. So a year ago, I was actually doing deliveries. I was on the road picking up groceries for our neighbors. You know, at that time we were still buying groceries in the grocery store. My dad was one of our first volunteers, so he would come to the grocery store and help me with the grocery shopping. It's a little different now. We have the Brooklyn Packers, and you know they help us out and they pack our bags for us, and now we just pick them up and we deliver them. When we first started, we were in a church space and we were packing bags very similar to this, but not as much green as you see here now. And because these guys, right, Carter? Yes. Okay. Because of these guys, we started incorporating greenage and fresh produce because our access was increased. It's important for Brooklyn Packers to be an important node in a network of other organizations that are working towards food justice. As a thing that everybody needs in
their daily lives for basic sustenance, food has become an issue that like really absorbs kind of the basic injustices that we live in on a daily basis. It's impossible to find fresh food in large swaths of New York City, which, considering that it's like, you know, one of the wealthiest populations and that wealth is concentrated in a few hands, it's outrageous. Okay, I got raw corn raw pot. All right, so I got 6 bags. Hello! You need any more bags? I don't know. I didn't want to shop. There's 8. You need 5 and 7. The neighbors might see you.
The neighbors are awesome. That's definitely the best part. Like, I mean, who doesn't love getting their groceries delivered in the first place? But also that, you know, they appreciate it. A lot of times people have talk to me and conversations about my day, what they're up to. So, yeah, I really like it.
Thank you. First, I'm happy with our growth. We're able to get to so much more people because we're spending a lot less time in the grocery store, and that was the point. We wanted to get folks food that was affordable for us because it's community funded, and also that was healthy. Folks were spending a lot of money in the grocery stores and really not getting the best quality of food sometimes, especially the grocery stores in low-income neighborhoods. They're not getting, you know, turnips and beets and you know, radishes and parsnips and, you know, all of these amazing, wonderful produce items.
Hello?
Hi, is this Miss Roxanne?
Yes, please. I'm not yet at home.
Oh no! Is there someone there to receive your groceries?
You could put it on the step by the wall. It's okay.
Our delivery team does such a great job at preparing the information. Our intake team also does a great job at receiving the information from our neighbors and putting it in such a way that it's palatable for our drivers and our volunteers. And our tech volunteers do such a great job as well. I mean, our whole team, I could just go on and on about everyone that has a hand in making this happen. I mean, folks put so much time and energy into it. It's amazing. We spend $15,000 a month on food. But we've found ways. There's always a way to get it done and to do it with the highest of standards and with people that actually care about what they're doing, where they're doing it, who they're doing it for. We created something crazy, and I must say that I am damn proud of it. And the folks that are behind it, the folks that have built it, the folks that operate it, the folks whose ideas and creativity goes into it, damn proud of it. So one of our neighbors gave us a donation. So the wonderful thing that we try to do is really create that sense of solidarity. And the principles of mutual aid are give what you can and take what you need. And oftentimes neighbors will give what they can. You know, they have a need, and we're there to fill that need, to make sure that they have what they need. And then whatever they can give back into it, they do so. So this will go back into the pot to ensure that we can buy groceries for other neighbors. There's about $15 or $20 here, which is great because that can go to feeding a family of 4 for a week. So that's awesome. So thank you for this. Our last delivery for the day. Look, it's empty. This is my community. I live on this block right here. This is my neighborhood. That's it. No more. We're done. Let's go. Let's wrap it up. Let's go home. We want to grow. We want to make sure that our communities have the resources they need, and the folks that live in those communities are the ones that are controlling the access and have a say in what that model and what that system of getting food looks like. They are the ones that are eating the food. They're the ones that are receiving the food. They should be the ones making the decision on the food. So that is what we are going to create, and we've already started planting those seeds.